Are the days of paying $100 for a sheet of plywood and $90 for OSB behind us? Well, there's articles out there talking about how the lumber bubble might have popped. And I want to talk about how that impacts us as real estate investors, whether it be landlords or flippers. So let's get right to it. Obviously, we buy a lot of plywood. In our flipping business, we're buying tons of plywood for all of our rehabs, whether we're resheathing the house or doing new flooring. And as well as we as landlords, unfortunately, a lot of our tenants seem to destroy our bathroom floors or the kitchen floors for the over flooding. And we're out constantly having to replace because they don't report issues in a timely fashion. And then unfortunately, the subfloor is just rotted through. So we have to constantly go through and fix that. And so we're buying quite a bit of plywood. We try to stay away from OSB. Once in a while, if we're doing a brand new roof, we might use OSB as the underneath sheathing. But in general, we're focused on plywood. So we've been paying through the nose for these sheets of plywood. In some cases, over $100 a sheet. It's been crazy the last couple of years. But it seems like things are actually starting to kind of take a notch down. We got to some crazy highs in 2021. Talk about lumber prices have fallen 47% year to date. Now, this was just an article that came out a couple days ago, and they're actually down 65% from the 2021 high. That's crazy. This is, huge for us real estate investors because everyone's using plywood as well as 2x4s and all that other stuff in their renovations. So this is something that we're seeing across the nation as obviously demand is also kind of waning in the housing market. We're going to start seeing supply kind of back up and stuff like that. So this is a good thing. We got here the prices. If you look at the last year, you can kind of see it. This is just for plywood commodity prices. So you can kind of see it's been going a downward trend. Look at the 5-year here. All right, so we're actually below for quite a bit on just plywood alone over the last 5 years. So that's fantastic. As you can see here, it was that high in 2021, but we are now definitely on, kind of maybe a bubble bursting, which is fantastic. So, don't get me wrong. This is something that I've been looking forward to because as we've been buying projects that foreclosure auctions. So let's talk about that. So we buy often foreclosures that ideally they say they're going to take 30 days, but more often than not, they're going through title issues and stuff like that. So there's sometimes where we're taking 6 months to close. So when I'm doing my estimates, I'm basing it on numbers that I have today. I can't predict the future. And with the pricing of lumber and other materials that had skyrocketed, my numbers were thrown out of the window. Where I was seeing 50, 60% increases in my cost of material, not to mention the cost of labor going through the roof, my rehab budgets were just not even in the realm of possibility. So luckily now we're starting to see things kind of trickle down a little bit. Labor cost is still also up there, but we're also having a hard time finding just labor to get these projects done. But there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Now, what I'm not seeing though is there's still issues with our electrical. So I was just talking to my electrician and we have a 2-family house that we need to do a whole new service. And one big thing that we were talking about, so I was talking to him about how he's finding a really hard time finding the service wire of aluminum, the 4/0. The other big thing is we have to replace a lot of ours for the new code. These new meter sockets is a big issue. So we were looking at, for instance, we bought a 4-family and this 2-family. Both need full new meter sockets. So we have to put the outside, those are the sockets on the outside of the building where you have, it's also called maybe a meter bank or something like that. So we got to put basically a whole new service there to bring it up to code. They have to have shut-off switches on the outside, all these other things that are required now. So these new codes came up, but yet we can't get the material to meet the new code. So they won't let us actually do the work. So we're kind of at a standstill while we're trying to get this material. And I was just talking to my electrician and he was saying that there's maybe a 6-month plus wait still on some of this material. So now great, I got the plywood, I got some of the other stuff, but now I'm waiting on aluminum and I'm waiting on these meter sockets. It's this constant ebb and flow of material and supplies that we're getting just to finish these projects. But these are the kind of decisions that you're going to have to make as you're continuing to flip until these supply shortages are fully behind us. I think we are going to be seeing the light at a tunnel. It's slowly trickling in, and especially as demand wanes, those supplies will kind of start actually being restocked. So I'm hoping that we'll actually see maybe an overabundance of supplies where then I'm actually thinking about maybe buying extra stuff when the prices are really low, because we actually have a warehouse here. We can stock our stuff stuff when they're down in price. I will definitely do that. We're constantly also going through the bid room and stuff like that to get the best deal at Home Depot. So if you haven't checked that out, definitely go to the Pro Desk at Home Depot. We do not get sponsored this channel for that, but they should. Home Depot, check it out. These are the kind of things that we're seeing right now. So I'm hoping that we'll have in the next 6 to 12 months, actually, materials become more abundant and that we'll be able to keep our projects moving more smoothly. If you're flipping or if you're buying rentals, you just need to make sure you're buying it as the market's going down. You want to make sure you're buying appropriately and fitting that into your numbers so you don't catch a falling knife, so to speak. I hope this was helpful. If it is, I'd like to hear what your guys' experience with your flips are. If you could leave a comment, as well as do us a huge favor by liking, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell notification, and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.